Lloyd is the most boring main character in Ninjago.
Well, why you boring me? I'm right.
Just watch the video, okay? So let me start off with the positive stuff here so that all you guys that are going to get mad at me, you can watch that part of the video and then just leave when I start complaining, okay? Now, let me make one thing very clear here. I don't think Lloyd is a bad character. I got no problem with Lloyd when he plays the side role, even in Hands of Time, where he is a super prominent side plot. I'm fine with it. But when he is the main character, he's so boring. And it hasn't even always been like this. The first few seasons when Lloyd was introduced, he was fine. Even in his first season as the main character, I thought he was good. And let's be honest here, it's not like he was really given that great of material to work with. Just listen to some of this stuff. Oh, here we go, guys. It's gonna be the final fight. He's coming up here. It's Lloyd. Let's see if he's gonna deliver the epic one-liner. Let's see what he's got to say for the Overlord.
I have come here to fight you.
You're in.
That's the best line they can come up with. I have come here to fight you. Like, oh, thanks. I had no clue that you were walking up to the giant dragon on the top of the building because you were just gonna like come up and have some tea with him. Thanks, Lloyd. Now I got it. at least you got some better lines, right? Let's see what else you got.
Defeat me. Where there is light, there will always be shadow.
Unless my light is bright enough.
Oh my god, I can't make this stuff up. This is what they came up with. But alright, now we gotta get into where my problem with Lloyd starts. So let's take it from the beginning here. Alright, I know half the people watching this aren't even gonna want to consider this a part of Ninjago's history, so I'm gonna make this a pretty minor thing. All you need to know is that the movie came out in September of 2017. So what do we got next? Okay, we got Sons of Garmadon. That was actually a really good season. But you know what? It's now been a year of Lloyd as the main character, so you know, maybe it's time to switch it up, right? Oh. Okay, well, surely they won't do 4 seasons in a row as Lloyd is the main character. Oh, come on, 2 years? You couldn't change it once? It was set up for you, lose on the box. It was supposed to be the thing. He was supposed to be the main character. But fine, you want to do 2 years of Lloyd as the main character? Fine, great, whatever. At least by the end, Lloyd's gonna have tons of great new stories and new development, right? Alright, well that sucked. Lloyd had daddy issues the whole time, and the movie kinda was the worst, but fine, you mess up the movie, but the show will do something different. It'll be fine. Okay, so we're starting off good. Lloyd's got a new interesting character to work in with Hfmasters, and she's a great villain. So what are we gonna do to bring it all together? Oh, Lloyd's gonna have daddy issues and struggle to fight Garmadon and try to turn him? Okay, well, season 9, Lloyd's not gonna have his powers. This is gonna finally be, and he has daddy issues again, and he's struggling to face Garmadon. Well, you know what? March of the Oni's gonna finally wrap it up. Lloyd's finally gonna. They didn't even finish the arc. You put 3 seasons into Lloyd having daddy issues, and you couldn't even resolve them. You just had to walk away, and now we have to have another season of this. You know, at least in the last seasons, Lloyd had some interesting and diverse storylines. You know, like in the final battle, he had daddy issues and he couldn't fight Garmadon. And then in Turn of Elements, he had daddy issues and couldn't let Garmadon go. And in Possession, he got taken over. Okay, but then he reunited with Garmadon in the Curse. Is there a single Lloyd storyline that isn't him having daddy issues? Like, this is supposed to be the main character of the whole series, and every single time he's the main character, it's the same storyline. It's always him struggling to deal with Garmadon. Why has this not changed? Like, why have you done the same thing in like 7 seasons? Like, how hard is it to just have a different storyline? Like, you have Kai, who's had like just as many seasons as the main character as Lloyd, but at least with Kai, it's different every time. Like, Kai, it's not just the same story told in slightly different variations like Lloyd, where it's just the same thing and it's so boring because you just keep doing the same thing over and over again for no reason. Just like, can you please just change it? Like, everyone complains that Cole's not developed, and yet we have Lloyd here who's developed in like one little singular way, and no one cares. And I'm just sitting here like, it's the same thing over and over again. Like, come on. You know what the worst part about this is? No one would care about any of this. This video wouldn't exist, but it's gotten to the point where they've gone so in on Lloyd that it's forcing the other characters to become stagnant. And ironically, the best example of this is Kai, because he was one of the most developed characters in the whole show, and is pretty similar to Lloyd. He even had his own daddy issue storyline. But you know what's happened with Kai since season 8? Straight up become comic relief. I mean, how do you go from this?
My parents helped Wu and Garmadon defeat you once, and I will do it again.
To this.
Or what?
Or we'll have to get all ninja up on ya.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I was improvising. Usually Lloyd does the talking, but he isn't here. But where is Lloyd?
In the matter of one season. And I know Kai's the most extreme example of a character being changed to fit the story. Like, obviously, you know, it's happened before, but it was never, you know, this bad. There was always a balance between the characters. There would always be one character that was the main character, but other characters would get moments. But if you, like, honestly, if you only watch seasons 8 through 10, like, why would you care about any ninja other than Lloyd? Like, nothing has happened to anyone. They're all just there, and then everything that's good or important is all related to Lloyd. Every other ninja is just there to be there. They have no real purpose in any of it. And it makes everything just really boring. Now, thankfully, this really isn't that big of an issue. This entire thing is pretty much over for the most part. Obviously, they still have to wrap up the Garmadon thing, but that's fine. That's something they can still do. But the way they're moving in the direction with Season 11 right now, they are finally moving away from Lloyd, and the rest of the ninja are getting moments again. Like, they're like actually there. They have purposes to be there. They actually do things now. They're not just there to kind of give some lines with everything that really matters is going to be something Lloyd related. Like, they actually have like moments and significant things that happen to them, and they're getting real bits of development again, which is great. Alright, so some final closing thoughts here. So I don't think it's fair for me, you know, obviously I'm not a professional writer like the writers of Ninjago are. I'm not that experienced, but I do, you know, want to give some criticism, I think, in ways to improve it. And I do feel that Lloyd has been a little bit of a problem for the last couple seasons because of how prominent we are. But I do feel like I should at least give some suggestions. If I'm gonna like come out and criticize it, I should at least give, you know, some sort of semblance of what I think would be at least a decent idea to help change it. So obviously, all I'm really looking for is just less Lloyd, more moments for everyone else. I just want the better distribution of things, because where it was, everything, it was too Lloyd heavy. It was too top heavy. I think all they have to really do to solve the problems really here is to take Lloyd out of the main slot and just bring back balance throughout the characters, just make it more evenly spread out with character moments and character development. That's really the only thing they need to do, which, you know, obviously I say that it sounds easier, and it is hard to do, especially when you have an ever-growing cast of characters. There's so many characters that they're using now. You know, it's no longer 4 ninja, now it's more like a team of 8, so it's hard to evenly distribute it, but I mean, they can make it work. They've done it multiple times. They can do it again. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We'll see how people think of this video, because I'm sure people are going to either hate it or people will agree with me. We'll see how it goes. But for everyone that did stick through it, thank you guys for watching. I do very much appreciate it, especially those that actually are open-minded and aren't just sitting there angrily typing on their keyboards like, oh my god, how dare you hate on Lloyd, I love Lloyd, blah blah blah, like whatever. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Till next time, this is Hfmasters saying goodbye.